My next guest almost didn't happen, but I'm so happy it did. Mr. John Solleder is a successful businessman who's laying it all out for you to make money and take every opportunity you have to do so. Grab your notebook, your pen, your pencil, your highlighters, your markers, and let's go. Are you a beauty or barber pro looking for that push to do that thing you've always wanted to do, whether it's in or out of the salon, spa, or shop? Are you tired of not feeling good enough, smart enough, skilled enough? Are you tired of not getting a handle on your mental health, boundaries, and insecurities? I'm Krystine Sherwood, the BeautyPro coach, an internationally certified coach, a salon and spa owner, and your personal Jiminy Cricket. I use my own experiences, good and bad, as a salon owner to help you be more self-aware, authentic, and forward-thinking in your approach to life, in and out of the salon. It's time to reach your version of success with the Beauty Pro Coach podcast. Hello, beauty and barber pros. I'm really excited to introduce my next guest, John Solleder. Did I say your name right?
Sure did.
I did. Okay. And John, I'm really blessed because he is a veteran. He has served our country. So you already a superstar. And he's going to talk to us today about some really awesome things, right, John?
I hope so. Yeah.
Well, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why we should listen to you.
Well, I first of all, I'm one of those people that's actually survived 42 years of self-employment.
Mhm.
And I used to think that that was everybody. And then I talked to so many people, not only here in the US, but around the world, that haven't survived their own business. You meet people all the time say, well, I started this or I started that, whether it's in beauty, whether it's in direct selling, whether it's in, you name it, carpenters, plumbers, etc. that
Mhm.
have found it easier to work for other people. But the problem working for other people is long term, you're not going to make a lot of money. The,
Mm.
the economic reality of working for other people is that you're helping them fulfill their dreams and destiny financially, not your own. Okay, now there's nothing wrong with it, and a lot of people do it. But at the end of the day, if there's an alternative, why not do it? And a lot of times, what I find with people who are successful in any walk of life is that they've
Mhm.
acquired certain mindsets,
Mhm.
philosophies, and then they apply strategy and tactics within those frameworks, and all of a sudden they're super successful. And you look at somebody else who might smell better, look better on paper, you'd say, wow, that person should be super successful. Why aren't they?
Right.
So success leaves clues, and so does failure, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
I've got my share of both, by the way. So I
So,
think I got it all figured out, but I got a lot more figured out than a lot of people do.
I love it. Okay, so share with us what has been one of your biggest failures and what have you learned from it?
um Giving up too prematurely
Mhm.
on things. Sometimes, it's one more thing that you could do before you give up. And I threw in the towel on certain ventures over the years. That one that would have made me very, very wealthy. I got frustrated with the guy I was working with for a number of reasons, and I threw in the towel early. And it cost me about $14 million, I figure, over the next 5 years. Just
Oh.
one venture, and I had done the work. I had set everything up in this guy's company. I put all the marketing together. Everything was starting to click. And then he and I, because we couldn't get through our personal differences, I chose to leave. It cost me a small fortune. I'd be living on a beach somewhere. We'd be talking. Had the beach behind me instead of my house. But
Yeah.
that was one thing. And then I think the other thing is to figure out that the two most important words in business today is pivot and agility.
Ooh.
What do I mean by that? Okay.
Yeah.
During COVID, I had written two books. I've written a lot of books, but I had written two books. This one came out December 2019. This one came out early February 2020. And you say, well, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is I do a lot of public speaking. I
Uh-huh.
had 60 cities I was going to in 2020 all over the world because my books are in Spanish as well as English.
Uh-huh.
And long story short, this little thing called COVID, you might recall, happened.
Yeah.
Listeners
Yeah.
may recall that, a bad memory for all of us. And I had to make a couple of business decisions. It was like, okay, I'd already had the money invested, the time invested, because you don't write a book overnight.
Right.
Okay, years, and you write them on airplanes, and you write them on the weekends, and you write them late at night, and you do all of this, and then eventually you put it all together, and then you bring in other people to edit it and read it, and before you know it, you got a staff of people, which I did. I had 5 people collaborate. And anyway, long story short, I said, what am I going to do? I could just throw in the towel, stick these things on Amazon, and hope that they sell, which we did, by the
Mhm.
way. It became Amazon bestseller overnight, which was really good. But we had to
Yes.
promote to do that. So what did I do? Couple things. Number one, just like yourself, I created a podcast
Mhm.
called "Leaving Nothing to Chance." Same name as the book. That's one of my 2 books, and it's a concept too, as well as a
Yeah.
business concept behind it. But the second, so that was the pivot. The pivot was, okay, I can't go to all of these cities, but I can talk to people on a podcast and interview people, et cetera, and get the book out that way. And that worked to some degree. It didn't work great, but it worked. And then the other thing is the agility part. When I
Mhm.
say agility, what does that really mean? Okay. If you think about sports for a minute, think of basketball. If you got your back to the rim and a guy passes you the ball, you pivot on your foot to turn around and face the rim and shoot the ball.
Mhm.
All played basketball at some point in our life, right?
I love it. I love basketball. I love hockey. So this is fine.
Yeah,
Continue.
love hockey more. We're a hockey family, but the agility part is being able to move within the framework of your business. For
Right.
example, now I'm an old guy. I'll be 64 years old this month.
Looking good, sir. Looking good.
Well, that's a lot of nutrition through the years, a lot of exercise. But at the end of the day, the agility is all of a sudden there's this new world out there. For example, when I started my very first business venture way back in 1983, now this is going to shock you because you're young, but
Okay.
telephones actually plugged into the wall.
I remember those. I'm
Okay,
young, but I'm not that young.
parents told you about that. But in all seriousness, it's like
Yeah.
today I can take this thing and I can launch the space shuttle. There's more technology in this little telephone than there was
So
in
true.
what NASA used to launch the space shuttle
Yeah.
and the Apollo projects and everything else way back. Okay, so the world's changed. So when I mean agility, how do we have to become agile in any business, whether you're in beauty, whether you're in direct sales, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a carpenter, whether you're whatever. The agility comes into recognizing that we live in a technological age, and
Mhm.
things like AI are here to stay. They're not going anywhere.
I know.
A number of years ago, Bill Gates was interviewed, and this was when .coms were becoming a big deal. And I remember he said, you're either going to be on the internet or you're going to be out of business. Well, that was about 20 years ago that he said that, and he was right. Today, you better understand AI. Now, does that mean you have to become a machine learning engineer? No. What it means is you better understand that there's applications of AI that you can utilize because AI is going to replace and is replacing lots of jobs.
Mhm.
I live in Dallas, for example. There's a restaurant that I go to that I'm waited on by an AI robot.
Oh
And,
my God. What?
and the only transaction I have with a human being is on the way out of the restaurant when I'm paying the bill. Otherwise, everything, the robot takes my drink order, and it's an automated. This particular restaurant's automated, where you're taking your food as it comes by you, off of a automation, off a conveyor belt, and then each plate that you consume, when you put it down a hole, that's how it bills you. And at the end, the robot hands you the bill, and then you go up and you pay a live human being on your way out. And in time, that'll be replaced. Um, as
Wow.
as we speak, Jeff Bezos has replaced thousands of jobs in numbers of facilities with Amazon with robots. And remember, robots, they don't get hurt. They don't take days off for being sick. They'll work
Mm.
Christmas Eve, they'll work New Year's Eve, they'll work on Easter, they'll work on their birthdays. They won't complain. And if they get hurt, they don't sue the company. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Uber is in the process of replacing thousands of drivers, okay, with AI. So this is the world we're living in, and very, very scary on the
Yeah.
one hand. So how do you become agile and pivot and say, okay, whatever my business is, what are all the applications I can utilize technology for? And what can I do personally that nobody else can do and no robot can do?
Mhm.
Saying
Mhm.
hello to a customer, for example, calling a customer on their birthday or on their
Yeah.
anniversary,
Yeah.
okay? Encouraging them if you're in the beauty industry, for example, encouraging them to say, "Hey, Mary, you haven't been in for a while. I'd love you to come in, get a touch up." Or, "Hey, Bob, maybe you're due for a haircut. Let's
Mhm.
up here. Springtime's coming. I know your daughter's getting married." And, like
Oh,
all those little things that only you as a human being can do. So you do in your business what you can do best in
yeah.
your business. Give you another example from way back. I lived in New York for a long time, and I used to like to cut my own lawn. And because I've always been traveling and giving lectures and everything on weekends, I would actually enjoy cutting my lawn. I actually liked it. It was exercise. You're
Yeah.
outside. It's your grass. It's not somebody else's.
Yeah, it's yours.
And my mentor at the time said to me, he said, how much money do you think you make per day? And at that time, I was making about $2,000 a day. And he said, "How much do you think you make, per hour out of that?" I said, "Well, if I take out 8 hours for sleep and rest, another couple hours for eating, exercise. Let's say I work an 8 hour day. So if you say, well, I ate into that, oh, that's about what, $150 an hour, give or take." He said, "What does a landscaper cost in New York?" I said, "Probably about $50 an hour." He said, "So that difference that you are saving, is it really worth it when you can put that time into your business and make more money?"
Wow.
And I said, "You're absolutely right. Now, if you want the exercise because that's what you want to do, terrific,
Right.
by all means."
Mhm.
But his point was right spot on, that I could pay somebody to do that. To me, that's what AI is. AI is
Yeah.
a modern tool to do the things we don't want to do. Okay.
Mhm.
For example, there's a lot of correspondence. I just wrote, one of my other backgrounds is in finance. So I just wrote some books on finance, okay, that you can get on johnsolleder.com. There's a free one that should be up there. I haven't checked, better be up there. But I actually wrote that
Everybody
book.
go check.
90% of that book was written by AI.
Whoa.
What it was for people in the direct selling industry, network marketing industry, multi-level marketing, whatever you want to call it, that I've spent years, helping develop companies in. And it's for people in that industry who mismanage their money, which is about 99%. And by the way,
Mhm.
that could probably be every industry out there, because
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
mismanage their money. So it's to educate them. But I used AI. I used an AI book company basically to write 99% of what I wrote. Now I had to write the particular chapters because I wanted the AI to apply what I wanted in that particular chapter. So that was
Mhm.
my contribution. The rest was AI. These books took me years,
Yeah.
as opposed to now where I can knock stuff out really, really quick. And if it's on technical stuff that the information is germane, okay, in other words, doesn't need me in first person to talk about it, I
Mhm.
utilize all that. And these are just examples, okay? And every business has those examples of what it is that we can use AI for. Is AI going to get better over time? It's amazing now, but what's it going to be in 5 years? Who knows?
Mhm.
I mean, I'm hearing all sorts of different things, right?
Yeah.
Again, don't let it replace you in terms of who you are,
Right.
your personal brand. That's really important because that's who your customer buys and trusts.
Right.
But use it for all those other things to free you up. Like my
Right.
example of cutting my lawn.
Mhm.
Let me pay somebody to do, or let me use AI to do all the stuff I don't want to do, don't care to do, don't need to do, and let me do the things that I'm really best at in my business to build
Mhm.
my business and grow my brand. AI can't decide if I'm in the beauty business and I have, one location on the west side of town, and I say, I've been looking over at the east side of town and there's an opportunity there for my brand. Okay, well, I can't decide that for you. You got to decide that. You got to
Right.
go see, what's the foot traffic look like? What does
Right.
it look like? What are the demographics? What are the, those are decisions only you can make. So you make the decisions that only you can make and need to make, and let AI do just about everything else that it can possibly do for you.
I love that you're speaking about like so many things in one shot with as far as marketing is concerned. Uh, you know, be- believe it or not, there's quite a few beauty professionals who are still not online. They are still using, the old fashioned, appointment books where they write it down like agendas. Remember those? And that's not the time that we're living in anymore. And so they're not marketing, they're wasting money. Like there's money out there to be grabbed, right? And they're wasting money for that. Then, use investing your time where it's important. That's another huge point for salon owners, especially a lot of the booth renters that are out there. Now, just before we started recording, we were going to get into how to keep your team together, motivated, working in your organization for 30 years. What can you advise? What can you say about that to these business owners, salon or not? What do you tell them? How do you keep your people?
Okay, a couple of ways. Number one, inclusiveness.
Mm.
What I mean by inclusiveness, people feel like they're part of the company. You may be the owner. Your name's on the corporate documents. Your name is on the lease. Your name is on all of that. But at the end of the day, they got to feel like they're part of the team,
Mm-hmm.
that they're needed and that they're respected and that they're viable,
Yeah.
that they can't be replaced tomorrow. Okay, that they're really, really important. I'm going to give you some examples of this.
Yeah.
Years ago, when I was in college, I worked in a bar for a short time, and a friend of mine's father bought the bar, and he decided he didn't like the lead bartender for whatever reason. They just didn't like each other, and he let him go. Well, the guy had been there 20 years, and what happened was there was a loyalty to him.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't the most honest guy in the world, quite honestly. He did
Right.
things he shouldn't have done, and the new guy said, "Hey, there's these records don't add up," but he had a following.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up his bartender license, and he literally moved down the street to another bar about 6 blocks away. And guess what happened to the customers? They went with him. Okay,
Yeah.
so if they in retrospect, all right. Now I was young, I didn't have any decision making process there, but what should have been done is they probably should have communicated.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do this so it works out for both parties? So you keep those customers in those seats in your bar, okay? Because you don't
Mm-hmm.
go down the street because the product's the same. But
Yeah.
they happen to have liked this individual, and he got to know them, and they'd come in after
Right.
all games and such. And anyway, that was a mistake. Another one: learning to listen to your leadership.
Mm.
This is key. Early on in my career, I started one business. It had a challenge with the Food and Drug Administration in 1985. I got involved in the life insurance business. I went to work for a major life insurance company in New York City. And I went to a meeting. And at that meeting, a fellow named Bob Crimmins, who was the vice president of that company, spoke about the fact that he would receive phone calls from people throughout the day, and he'd be multitasking. He'd be reading a report, and he'd be talking to you on the phone. But the top sales rep at that company at that time was a gentleman by the name, this is a funny name, folks. I'm not swearing, I promise. Mady Fakazadi was the top sales rep at the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company in the 1980s. Legend. I mean, like top, huge earner. And this guy, Bob Crimmins, who was the VP of Met, very big job that he had. I think he eventually became president of that company, but I left at that time. But anyway, he made a great point, and it stayed with me some 40 years later in terms of how I deal with my top people and how you should deal with your top people, more importantly, if you listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
He said, when Mady Fakazadi calls, he puts down everything else and he listens.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Mady has a problem, or better yet, an opportunity, he needs to respond to it. Because if Mady stops selling, he doesn't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Now what's the key of that? What do you take out of that illustration is this. You may have the lease in your name, you may have the sign in your name. But if you have somebody who's driving your business and they have an issue or a problem, or for that matter, an idea how to grow the business, at the very least, listen to what he or she has to say because it's invaluable input to you that you're not going to get, okay, from reading a book or taking a course or even listening to a podcast. Okay, you're going to get that from that person who's in there every day who says, the wall over here is green, but if we made it blue, people might like it more. We might get more customers. They might stay longer. And I'm using that as a silly illustration, but
Sure.
something like that, where that person gives you that input because 5 customers in a row said, "Boy, we like coming here, but we don't like that wall."
Mm,
And let's change it. Okay, if it's a simple
right.
thing, a coat of paint's going to fix. Let's hear what they have to say because what do they do? They're reflecting what the consumer, the person who ultimately pays the bills in all businesses, is saying.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
those are
Right.
the kind of lessons that I picked up over the years from other people. Some by trial and error, some by screwing up myself on different.
Mm,
Okay, some by making mistakes that cost me lots of money, and some by doing things that people pointed something out, and I said, I'm going to make that change. And all of a sudden I did, and all of a sudden the results increased. And I said, wow, that person gave me that advice for free.
yeah. Yeah.
Give me more, type of thing. But those are the type of things we have to listen to. We have to listen to, and this is how you build a team long term. When that
Right.
individual feels like you, as the owner of the business, proprietor of the business, hears what he or she has to say, their input. Even if you can't immediately implement it, and maybe you never implement it, but at least they know that they're respected and they're valued. Okay, like one sales organization that I built now for 29 years. That's what I've done. Is I've always communicated with my people. Tell
Mm,
me what I can do better. Tell me what the corporation could do better. Tell me what we could do better as a team. Tell me what you need, and within reason, we can't change everything overnight, but
mhm.
within reason, I'm going to give you what it is that you're telling me you need. Just like that guy at MetLife, listen to that top salesman,
Yeah.
because he said, you know what, that guy's too busy he doesn't call me every day to talk about the Yankees game last night. He
Right.
calls me because he's got either a problem or an opportunity. And in either case, I need to be not only respectful,
Mm.
but responsive to what he is saying, because that's how I stay employed.
Now
Okay.
now here's a question. I have two, but we're going to start with this one. Who, as the leader of the organization, whether they're the owner or even the manager, who do you listen to? Do you listen to the person who's paying, who's technically the boss, right? Because they're taking their money and they're putting it into your business. Do you listen to the client, the consumer, or do you listen to the employee or the person who's working for you? Like when it's time to take action, which one is it?
But you have to hear both.
Okay.
But you have to respond. If I only had a choice in that matter, I would
Mm-hmm.
respond to my employee first,
Okay.
because my
Okay.
employee is going to hear that from simultaneous people. Go
Mhm.
back to the wall was green, maybe if it was blue. Well,
Right.
they didn't make that up because one person said it. They made it because multiple people have said, "Yeah, we love your salon, we love your studio, we love your business, but boy, we hate that paint job. We hate that. If you move the coffee machine from here to there, because when you walk in, you almost walk into it. Like
Right.
it's in the middle of the room as opposed to against the wall. Simple things that, and sometimes in business, and I've done this from a consulting standpoint. For example, when I've walked into businesses, there was one up in Cornwall, Ontario, for example, Canada.
Mm.
I was living up there a few years back when my son was playing hockey up there, and the guy who owned the gym that I worked out at said to me, "Look, you've got all this business background. Tell me what I could do better." And I loved this guy's gym. I mean, I walked in, I was at home. It was got all the kind of stuff I like to lift,
Yeah.
like I do powerlifting and stuff. So it's like we had all the crazy bars and
I
stuff.
love it.
Not
That's
gonna
where I was before our conversation. I was at my CrossFit gym, so that's great.
It's the stuff you're not going to get at the normal, franchise.
Right.
I mean, it's like all the big balls and med ball. Anyway,
Yeah.
they said to me, "What could I do different?" And I said, "Give me a couple of days, Tom. Let me just walk in, as a customer, not as a gym member." And I came up with a couple of basic things. One of which was, honestly, the lockers that he had. You would put your shoes in there, and it snows a lot up there, so you need to put your shoes, and it's like you get salt and all that kind of stuff. So it made them kind of oxidize. Well, you would put your shoes in there, but you as a woman would not put your good clothing in there, I guarantee you.
No.
And as a guy, I wouldn't want to put a shirt that I was putting on after I sweated, for
Ugh.
example, on because it's like, man, I don't know what that oxidation is going to do to my skin, right? Like maybe it's going to
Mhm.
probably nothing, but at the end of the day, that was one thing. And then he said, "Yeah, you know what? We can do something. We can come in and we can sand those lockers down and get rid of that." He says that's a great idea. I said that was one idea. And then another thing was and I used the paint as an example. The other thing was it had dingy paint. I mean, you walked in, it felt like you were going to a morgue, and it
Ooh.
was, hey, I want to come to the gym because this is my separation from reality. This
Mm.
is my hour of me time, right? So
Yeah.
I want to come in and I want to see, stuff that makes me happy as opposed to, dingy. So he changed the paint color, for example, on some things. And his membership went up, by the way. And he retained
Wow.
his membership. So, but here's the point. Okay. Here's the point for all of you self-employed folks. You walk in your business 5, 6, 7 days a week. You don't notice the things that I would notice if I walked into your business and go, hey, wow, the coffee machine's in the middle of the floor. Your customers are tripping over it. They don't want to trip over it. They want to enjoy a cup of coffee while they wait to be taken care of as the next customer. Put it against the wall. And I'm using that as a simple example again.
Yeah.
But there's things like that that sometimes you say to somebody, even if, let me give you an example, because you're in a very highly competitive business. So, that being the case, you have other salon owners that are friends. If they're not down the street, let's say they're across town, let's say they're in the next town. So they're not directly competing with you on a regional basis. Your customers are kind of coming to you, theirs are going to them. Do yourselves a favor. Say, listen, let's go have lunch. And then you come in my facility and tell me what you would do different. And I'll go in your facility and tell you what I would do different. Right? Because there might be one or two ideas, because most of the time it's not radical change that we need in a
Mhm.
business.
Mhm.
It's a paint job. It's a move this over here, clean this. The bathroom's dirty. The paint is ugly. You got a picture on the wall that's 40 years old that's falling apart, covered with dust. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple, simple stuff. But when we're there every single day, just like that gym owner, Tom, in Canada, he was
Mhm.
there every day. So he didn't see what I saw walking in and saying, here's some simple stuff. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, but
Mm.
stuff that's going to help you retain your customer. Because here's the thing in all business, I don't care what business you're in, selling somebody once or servicing somebody once in the salon business is terrific. But what if they become a customer, like my wife, for example, her lady that she goes to, Zofia, here in Dallas? She's been going to her for 14 years.
Wow.
14 years. And by the way, that lady's moved multiple locations.
Uh-huh.
And my wife has followed her because not only does she do a good job, but they become friendly as well.
Right.
And they know what's going on in each other's lives. Okay. My wife goes and complains about me, and she complains about her husband, probably. I don't
We'll
know.
never tell.
Hey, if you're cutting somebody's hair, you're their bartender.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And hear them. Okay. Don't add to it, right? Don't throw logs on the fire. But sometimes it's just a case of hearing too.
Yeah.
Hey, and especially, let's look at this after COVID, because the world changed after COVID in
Mhm.
so disrespect. How many people weren't able to get out for a year? And maybe now their life shifted because maybe they were in their late 50s or early 60s. And now all of a sudden now they've retired. You might be the only person outside their immediate family that they
Yep.
communicate with on a weekly or biweekly or monthly basis.
Mhm.
So you become really valuable to them beyond the service that you're giving them.
Yeah.
You're you're a voice. You're a person to talk to. You're a person that cares about them. You know about their daughters getting married, their son's having a baby, their husband maybe is having a health challenge, maybe they're having a health challenge. All of
Yeah.
those things that go beyond the service part of the business are really, really valuable to people. Because at the end of the day, you ask how I've kept things together.
Mm-hmm.
Not only hearing people, but also caring about people.
Yeah.
Okay, there's an old statement, right? It's great to be interesting, but it's more important to be interested.
Ooh. Ooh, I love it. Okay.
What does that really mean? It really means, hey, you know what? I'm interested that Mary's coming to see me today. And I know Mary's husband's going through some challenges with his health. And I want to see, hey, how's Bob doing? Yeah, I've been praying for him. I've been thinking about him. I'm sending him my best wishes. You know what? Mary may not hear that from anybody else today.
Exactly.
Mary,
Exactly.
Mary says, hey, not only am I going to put an extra couple bucks in the tip jar, but gee whiz, the lady that just moved in next door to me, she's looking for somebody to do her hair.
Mhm.
Where's she going to send her? Right?
Right. Right.
So that's how you build businesses with people where you're constantly interacting with them because our people, our brand, in anything that we market,
Mm-hmm.
you can be the best at what you do, but if you're a jerk, nobody wants to do business with you.
Yeah.
You're a real person, and they know you're a real person. Hey, you may not be the hairstylist to the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Just be really good at what you do, but at the end of the day, they're coming to you because it's you. People buy you more than they buy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what AI can't replace. Go back to my
Exactly.
AI can't replace that. They can't replace that relation. AI is not going to say, Mary, how is Bob? He's a robot. Bob is. He doesn't know who Mary is. But you know who that is, and you know their circumstance and their situation. So don't ever lose that because at the end of the day, that's the most valuable thing is that communication that takes place. Just like you and I are communicating right now,
Right.
communication with our customer or to keep our organization together, the people who work with us in our businesses, to keep that together on a long-term basis. Okay. Got to communicate, communicate, communicate. There's the smartest guy they say in the Bible, in the Old Testament anyway, was Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
And King Solomon had a statement. He said, accurate communication allows progress.
Huh. I'm gonna have to get my Bible out and look at that verse because what verse is that?
I think it's Proverbs, okay? But accurate,
Proverbs. Okay.
I mean, just think about that. Accurate
Yeah.
allows progress. What are we going through as a country right now? All this stuff with tariffs, good or bad. I'm not a political person. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got my opinion like everybody does. We'll see how it turns out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, one of the challenges that I think President Trump has that he could learn from a guy named Ross Perot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Ross Perot ran for president in 1992. He's a super successful business guy here in Dallas. Passed away now. But Ross Perot would get on TV and he was debating then President Bush and Bill Clinton. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. And I'm fairly young at the time, and I'm not super into politics. And I'm not super into politics now. I could really, and I could care less. I think we all need to care about it. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? You vote, go about your life, go make your business, and every 4 years figure out, who the best person is.
Right.
But anyway, Ross Perot did something really amazing. He would get these big cue cards, these big white cards, and he'd write on them. And they have this debate. And now Ross Perot's a billionaire. The other two guys are millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, he points at Clinton and he says, this guy here had 93 cars for this debate tonight. This guy here, Bush, he had 92 cars. He goes, now I got more money than both of them and I'm self-funding my campaign. I flew in commercial on my own nickel and I rented a car at Avis and I drove here. And I'm one guy, one car. These people are wasting your tax dollars. Why do they need 90 cars? They're one guy. I get it. Like Secret Service, okay, those people, the Secret Service people, but all these other dignitaries to come to a debate paid for by the American taxpayer. You know what? I voted for Ross Perot.
Yeah.
The first I've ever campaigned for. I actually knocked on doors in New York. Got a lot of doors slammed in my face, by the way. Okay. But I actually campaigned for him because I said, that guy's spending my money right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to our current president, okay, and not to, he's got a lot on his plate, frankly, okay, but at the end of the day, okay, what he's not doing is he's not explaining why he's doing what he's doing, so that the average person says, "Well, wait a minute, I didn't know these other countries, like, we they ship a car to us, we and we got to pay, they pay no duty on it. We ship one to them and we're paying 10, 20, 30%. Well, that's a little unfair to our American manufacturers and workers."
Hmm.
If he explained that, then people would say, "Well, wait a minute, let's give this a chance." And once again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong or indifferent. I don't know. I'm not that smart.
Right.
I'm not an,
Right.
but at the end of the day, explanation. So you take that at a super high level, Ross Perot, Donald Trump, two super successful men.
Yeah.
How do we communicate?
Exactly.
Are we clear with people so that they understand what it is that we need them to do within our business, so that they're very, very, very clear on what the objective is and why the objective exists in the first place? You're not making busy work to make busy work. If you say, "Hey, Susie, the last two customers that came in were standing in other people's hair,"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's not good. You know what? That's a little disgusting. Like, you salute
Yeah.
next time to make sure that, when our valued customer comes in who pays your salary and my salary and helps pay the rent, that she's not standing in somebody else's hair. Okay? Because
Yeah.
maybe she didn't say anything this time, but next time she goes, I'm going to go somewhere else.
It's
Okay.
true. Sometimes they won't even say it. They just leave.
Little things in business that affect the outcome of what our customer perceives in terms of how much due diligence we provide to make sure that their experience is a good one.
Yeah.
Like I said with that gym, for example, you walk in and it's dingy. Hey, this is my hour of me time. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be motivated. I want to be happy when I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you provide that experience so that that experience is one that not only am I going to repeat coming back to you, but I'm going to tell my friends, hey, give me another reference point. When I started selling way back in the 80s, there was a guy named Joe Girard, and Joe Girard was considered to be the greatest car salesman in the world.
I love that you're talking about this. Okay, go ahead. Uh-huh.
How to sell anything to anybody.
Yeah.
And what Joe Girard did was he did a little research. And by the way, he was considered the best car salesman, not only by himself and his own platitudes,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Guinness Book of World Records actually recognized him as such. I mean,
Okay.
selling like I think 600 cars a year, one at a time, not fleets. So he didn't go out and sell General Motors their cars. Like, he sold one car at a time, and he created some great systems, by the way, to do that. But here's the point that he made: he went to funeral homes and wedding halls, and he talked to the people who operated them. Didn't matter, Protestant, Catholic, Jewish, Mormon. Didn't matter the faith, the person who got married or passed away.
Sure.
He said, the guest remembrance book that you sign at either event, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many people in general come to either of those events? And the number he had repeated back to him from all four of those faiths and those two different industries was about 250. So what he said about that, he did what you just did right there. Really? Okay.
Okay.
So that means if I sold you a car and you pulled off the lot, and all of a sudden you pulled up to a traffic light and a cop pulled up behind you and said, "Hey, the blinker doesn't work," and you brought it back and he ignored you, you tell 250 people, "Yeah, I bought a car from this guy. I didn't know my name 5 minutes after I bought it." Conversely, if you came back and said, "Wow, the blinker didn't work right. Oh my Lord, I'm so sorry. Let's get it right into service. Can I buy you lunch in the meantime? Can I make sure you have a cup of coffee, a newspaper to read, a place to hook up your internet?" In other words, did I provide that customer service? What are you going to do then? You're going to go, "Hey, you know what? Blinker lights break all the time. No big deal. They fixed it for me and they treated me respectfully. And oh, by the way, my friend who says I need a new car, what am I going to do? Hey, go see my friend Joe." Bingo. It was like logic.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we have to treat people.
So when it comes to sales, because that's a big part of the industry, I know there's some debate on whether hairstylists should even sell retail in the salon or not. That's a big thing right now. Um, and the other thing is a lot of hairdressers and barbers, they don't want to be that car salesman. They don't want to sound like a broken record and then they get all like pouty because they didn't make the sale. What can you tell these professionals about selling products? I mean, it's an extra income that they're getting, but also like they just feel weird doing it, so they don't do it. What can you tell them about selling anything?
Well, I think the first thing is that your customer is going to buy those products somewhere.
Exactly. Okay.
Recommendation of a professional.
Yeah.
You know whatever the product is that you're selling, as long as it's good, it's effective, it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't you as the professional recommending that to your customer, as opposed to them just going into the store and buying whatever,
Mm-hmm.
maybe buying the cheapest thing or whatever's on sale, and maybe it's something that's going to hurt the customer's hair.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So at the end of the day, you as the professional can give guidance to someone that somebody in a retail store making a hourly salaried employee, it doesn't have that same level of understanding that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my recommendation would be that you do so. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you beat somebody over the head if they say, you know what, money's a little tight this month, can't afford it. Let me use, this product or that
Right.
product. Okay, fine. Don't beat them over the head. But people look for authority figures in everything in life. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do people hire a personal trainer? You can go to the gym and you can work out, but all of a sudden you hire a personal trainer, even if you hire them short term, to put a program together because he or she knows what they're doing, to say, hey, I gotta get my legs stronger because I want to do I want to throw shot put or discus for example. Okay, I can get my
Mm-hmm.
legs. Let me get a professional for 30 days, not for the next 30 years, but for 30 days. Let me hire somebody to put something together. Same analogy, okay, in the beauty industry. I want somebody that knows ingredients. I want somebody that knows brands. I want somebody that's got the authority with that particular brand to recommend it because they know what it does or doesn't do because they see heads every day, not just mine,
Mm-hmm.
using a particular product. I started using a product years ago. I still have all my hair at 64. Okay. And it's because of a recommendation, believe it or not, okay, from a great barber here in Dallas when I was in my 40s. And I
You
still use
see?
it. I won't name the product, but at the end of the day, it's a product that I've used for, I don't know, 15 years because I asked a professional, I was losing my hair in the back. I said, what should I use? And he told me what I should use. And I started to use it. And I've been buying that product for 15 years.
I love it.
So, once again, we want the authority. Why do we go to a doctor?
Exactly. Exactly.
You hope that that person knows what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would recommend that. And I mean, people have sales reluctance. I get that. Okay. But once again, you know what? Educate people. There's an old statement, right? An educated consumer is my best customer.
Mm.
Do their own homework. Okay, if you recommend something that might say, well, let me read about it. Let me go online. Let me take a look at it. Or if you have a
Yeah.
brochure, catalog, whatever, they're going to do their due diligence on it. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to trust you because they're already coming. They already do trust you.
Right.
So
Right.
my recommendation would be absolutely okay because the consumer, me, when I walk into your business, I want you to be the authority figure. I want you to guide me in terms of what it is that I need to do. Okay, in any business, I want that kind of
Yep.
guidance. And so most people, and by the way, we're willing to pay for it. Maybe brand A versus brand B. Okay, let me give you an analogy here. Brand versus product. Okay, let's
Okay.
use. Okay, we can go in any store. We can go in Target today or Walmart or wherever. We can buy soap. A lot of different soap manufacturers out there.
Yeah.
The product would be soap.
Okay.
But if I said, for your skin, you should use Ivory soap. Ivory soap is a brand.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cornflakes. A lot of companies make cornflakes. But if I said Kellogg's cornflakes, You all know Kellogg's cornflakes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference between a product, and there's many, many products, right? Lots of different choices, lots of different price points,
Right.
lots of different ingredients. Okay, some that are harmful,
Mm-hmm.
some that are real cheap. Versus a brand, well, that brand generally has become recognized as a brand because enough people like it and have had a good result with it, where all of a sudden they tell their friends, hey, you ought to use this.
Right.
Okay. So once again, what me as the consumer, I come in and you're going to cut my hair, and I say, hey, what shampoo should I use? Well, for your kind of hair, I got this fine German hair that I got. It's kind of gray, unfortunately. But I can do about that. It's actually, I actually like that it's turning gray in a way. I feel like I'm finally maturing. But no, but in all seriousness, what do I want? I want recommendation from that professional
Right.
because he or she every day does this. Like the woman that my wife goes to. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
14 years she's been paying this girl Sophia money. Okay, 14 years. All right, and my wife had some scalp issues early on, and she
Sure.
recommended stuff, and she's had a good result with things that she's recommended. So she trusts her.
Mm-hmm.
The trust element, So yeah, I think you should sell.
Yeah.
Not only to create additional income streams, multiple streams of income, certainly, which is something I'm a big fan of, but also once again because me as the customer wants your guidance because you're the professional. I'm not in that area.
Thank you. Thank you. That's how I feel. So in your when we were setting up this interview, you mentioned that you were working or are working in direct sales. So and now you have these books and you have your podcast. Go ahead and plug yourself right now. What is it that you do? How can these people reach out to you, get involved with what you have to offer?
Well, it's funny. 29 years ago, my mother was sick. This is
Mhm.
a long story, and this is actually going to be an article in Top Doctor magazine that's going to come out in August.
Okay. I'm excited.
And yeah, it's a big publication. Goes to 600,000 doctors. I'm not a doctor. Okay, I'm a salesman. I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay.
But my mother was introduced to a product via her doctor. Okay,
Mhm.
to raise what's called glutathione. And glutathione's in every cell in your body. Okay, it's primarily though in your liver, in your lungs, and the whites of your eyes.
Mm.
And my mother was having a health challenge at the time, and serious enough that I said to the doctors, it was one of those Columbo moments. I was like, I had my hand on the door leaving the doctor's office. I said, Doctor, is there an herb? Is there a vitamin? Is there something my mom can take so that her disease would progressively get slower rather than faster?
Right.
And the doctor said, I know about this product that's being worked on at McGill University up in Montreal. And I'm American, but I'm married to a Canadian, and I've done business in Canada for 40 years now.
Okay.
And anyway, lo and behold, that this product was researched not only at McGill, but also over at Pasteur Institute in Paris, also in Germany,
Mhm.
in Heidelberg by a Max Planck fellow. Max Planck was Albert Einstein's mentor. It's like if you're a Max Planck fellow, you're really, really smart.
Mhm.
Uh, anyway, and so I was real impressed with the research that they told me about. And she got on the product. The next thing I know, I'm in Montreal meeting with the company and saying, okay, guys, I'm a marketing guy. You guys have this scientific discovery. You got no clue how to sell it. And you have no chance of ever surviving. But I built network marketing companies both as an entrepreneur and also gone in and done it on a consulting standpoint. I mean, one of the companies I helped build was here in Dallas, became a $700 million brand. So
Whoa.
it's like I can help you guys if you want my help. And
Right.
and by the way, your product works. So long story short, I
Yeah.
became a marketer for this particular brand. And I don't say the brand because the company actually advertises it on Amazon. So you don't need to buy it from them. You need to buy it from me because I can teach you how to build a business. They can't.
Okay.
They can't teach you how to build a business. I can teach you how to build a business. But if they want to contact me, probably the best thing, just go to John Solleder, SOLLEDER.com,
Okay.
and shoot me an email. You can get that free book off there as well, by the way, on final expense insurance. Also something else you should know about.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I've done, and I've helped to build that brand. We just got featured in Top Doctor magazine with the company this month, so
I
that's
love it.
real proud of that. That was something that, by the way, let me go back to AI for a second. I'll go back.
Yeah.
Oh, I will plug myself.
Yeah. We're going to have all these links in the show notes too. So there you go. But go
I
ahead.
thought I was going to be a boring guest. You were like, "What do you know about
I
beauty?"
know.
Look,
I know.
don't judge a book by its cover.
I did, you guys. I was really hesitant to have John on. I was like, I don't know about this. And then my mind is blown. So continue on.
You'll appreciate this being a podcaster. So I get it. I get an email back in October, right before Halloween. I get an email from this guy in Las Vegas. And he says, I listened to your show. I love this particular show. It was great. It was wonderful. And, blowing smoke up my skirt. So he says, and I think I'd be a great guest on your show. I have no idea who the guy is or what he does, but I write him back and I'm like, wow, thank you for all the nice things you just said about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote him back. I interviewed him. Well, lo and behold, he was using AI to reach out to people.
My
So
God.
you never listened to my show. And so on one hand, you're like, wow, that's a little deceptive, which it is.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant because all of a sudden I find out that AI can do all of this writing and contacting of people. Like, wow, this is pretty cool. So lo and behold, he introduces me to a lady who is a medical, what do they call her? A medical PR person. So it's PR in the medical field.
Okay.
And real nice gal out in Malibu, California. And I get on the phone with her. And because he said to me, he says, hey, your product, she might be interested in, she might know some people. She introduces me to this guy in Virginia who's the publisher and owner of Top Doctor magazine, which goes out to thousands of doctors. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm like, see, I want to get my product out there and my science out there. So as a result of AI, does AI work? Yeah, because without that AI of him contacting me about the podcast, he doesn't introduce me to this lady Diana, who introduces me to this guy John, who owns his publication. And then I talk to the guy that is running our company, and I say we ought to have a presence here because our product is very medically driven, right? We got 91 patents, okay, medical patents. And anyway, long story short, now we're on the cover of Top Doc, and then in August I'm going to be featured in Top Doc, and some of the doctors I work with in San Antonio and some of the other places around the U.S. and Canada are going to be in there as well. And it's like, so one contact goes bing, bing. It's like dominoes. It's like all things start to happen as a result. So we're living in a fascinating time. I have friends that are retiring, and they're going down to like Sarasota and these places, and they're retiring, and they're on Facebook, and they're like these old people, and I'm like, did I even really go to school, you old people? Hey, I'm like, man, I'm up early in the morning. I'm at the gym at 6 a.m. I'm doing podcasts. I'm writing books. I'm doing all sorts. I'm growing my brand, and best is ahead of us. And this is what my message to people is real simple. The best of the world, not just the United States, but the best of the world is ahead of us. All these technologies are unbelievable. Don't be afraid of them. Embrace them. Do you have to become an expert? No. But what you do have to do is realize that they're there and not go, no, 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 not here. No, no, no.
Right.
They're not going anywhere. Okay. I'm blessed that I have a 21-year-old son who's a genius. My son really is. He's amazing. Full stack coder, and he's learning now to be an electrical engineer. And it's like
he is a genius.
Do me a favor, explain how the heck this thing works. So I'm lucky in that respect. But you can ask your kids, you can ask your grandkids, folks. If you're a little up there, okay, don't be afraid to ask. But there's so much information out there and so many opportunities. That's my so getting back to opportunity. If you're looking for a side hustle, okay, I've got one with what I do. I do work with people in the beauty industry, by the way, that have skincare products, hair care products, etc. Interested? Contact me. I'll turn you over to them, and if their brand's for you, terrific. It's something you can do on the side. If their brand's not for you, nice thing is this is America. We got multiple brands. You don't like one, find one that you like.
Right, and it's all about getting educated too. So just making the connection with John is good for you. I mean, look what happened with this podcast today.
And by the way, I'm going to return the favor because I'm going to put you on my podcast.
Let's do it. Let's go. Set the date. Okay. Sounds good. I'm excited.
You'll have a Calendly by, within the hour.
Okay, good. Good.
This is great. And, by the way, you're doing a great job. I love your show.
Thank you.
And it's innovative, and you're addressing things that people in your profession need to have addressed.
Thank you.
You're in a viable profession, you're in a necessary profession, and you're in a profession that you touch a lot of people. Like I say, it's more than just the great service that you giving somebody, a good bob, a good weave, making them look good. That's terrific. But at the end of the day, do they get out of that chair and feeling like, you know what, I just spent 45 minutes with you or an hour with you, and I feel better about me as I came to see you today. So you've got a really, really important role at a time where mental health in our country is at an all-time low.
Yeah. Yes. That is so true. Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, thank you, John, for coming on the show. I hope all of you guys who are watching on YouTube or listening on Apple or Spotify that you really got a lot out of today. All of John's links are going to be in the show notes. So go reach out to him, send him an email, get connected. And I'll talk to you guys next time.
Were you so inspired? Are you ready to get to work selling everything? I know I am. And I'm working on more ways to get that income, babes. So if you love today's episode, message me on Instagram, leave your comments under the video on our YouTube channel, BeautyPro TV. And until next time, honey bunnies, I will talk to you soon. If you loved this episode, subscribe to the BeautyPro podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave your reviews, stars, feedback so I can continue bring the content you deserve and want most. Your feedback fuels this podcast. The more you give, the more you get back. You can follow me at The BeautyPro Coach on Instagram and Facebook. Want to contact me directly? Email me at befree@goldentruthcoaching.com.